Hey, you might be wondering, Eric, what should I be investing my money in? What should I be buying? What coin should I be investing in? And before we even consider what to invest in, I want to talk about a big elephant in the room. Over 80% of American citizens are living beyond their means and shouldn't really be considering investing yet. Now, if you're like me and you either operate a business or you got a job and you realize that you got too much month at the end of your money, you're gonna wanna watch this video as I show you a couple of different things to help you actually become more financially educated, but also to magnify your wealth. Hey, how's it going? My name is Eric, and as always, I'm your abundant BFF. I'm just your guide to help you find a pathway to freedom and abundance. Now, I just turned 42. Like many of us, right? I've held many different jobs, operated many different businesses, and as a tax advisor to some very wealthy folks and to some average business owners or normal business owners, there's one thing that I found common across the spectrum. Most folks are living beyond their means. Now, there's a statistic that's out there, I believe it's from Bankrate.com, that analyzed and surveyed and figured out over 80% of Americans are living beyond their means. What does that mean? You might have heard of the statement, living paycheck to paycheck. Now, a lot of us may believe, oh, well, that's just for folks that are making a minimum wage or folks that are in the $20,000, $30,000 a year range, or they're just starting out. That's why they're living paycheck to paycheck. But gosh, when I'm starting to make six figures a year, $90,000, $100,000, $200,000 per year, I'll be flush with money. And I'll tell you, I work with a lot of individuals who are in the high six figures, even seven figures, and the notion of living paycheck to paycheck is a struggle that they deal with as well. So let's talk about that. Let's address that. Because before we even consider talking about where to invest money, we need to address this leakage of money and the challenges that come with it. Now, let's be totally real. We no longer have the traditional job security of the past. When my dad was growing up and he went to college and he went to Drexel as an engineer, the whole concept was get a good education, get a good job, work there for 30 years, get a house, and you'll be all set. But we know as we move further and further into what we consider progress and into the future, that there is no longer this concept of job security. More and more are positions turning to freelancer, 1099 contractor jobs, where you no longer have that systematic security of a job, but now you have this flexibility, but also the uncertainty of will you have a job next year, right? So with that said, there's a lot of folks out there that are in the situation where if they have job instability or uncertainty, or they were to get laid off, they're one paycheck away from losing it all. And this is really common. Let me go through a little bit of my own story. I've been an entrepreneur for a while, and I've utilized debt a lot, not in a very healthy manner. There was one point in time when I first got married, had my kid, and we were living in this house in Springfield, Massachusetts. We did everything we were supposed to be doing. I had a great business, selling life insurance, selling investments. My now ex-wife, my son's mom, she had a job working in retail, and we were doing it as we all were supposed to be doing it, right? And we lived basically paycheck to paycheck. We made a good income, but things happened. House needed improvements. I wanted to get a fancy car, fancy shirts and stuff like that. And little did I realize that the consumer debt that I was accumulating suddenly got to about $34,000 of consumer debt. And that allowed me to live this lifestyle, this American dream lifestyle, not realizing how underwater I was. Now, $34,000 of debt is a tremendous amount of money. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there that have much more debt or may have less debt than that. And there's this one point in time where the entire market collapsed in 2008. I lost my business. My son's mom got laid off from her position. We had to short sale our home, basically got foreclosed upon, and we were basically living out of a car trying to find an apartment to set up in. And it was a disaster. And now, from that story, what I started realizing was all of the stuff I've accumulated, all the things that I bought, were totally useless. I couldn't fit in my car. I had to be minimal. A lot of it I couldn't resell and make any money back. It was just junk. But I was still stuck with that debt, and I still had to pay off that debt. So eventually, now, 10 years later, finally debt free and everything, and it's taken a long while to figure it out. right? So in my journey, what did I do? How did I mitigate from that, right? Am I advocating no lattes, live on ramen, and cut the luxuries? No, not necessarily, because we all work hard. We still need to enjoy some of life's luxuries. But the biggest things that we need to understand is number one, financial education, management of our finances, and also management of our consumption. Those are three things that are important. So let's talk about 5 quick tips that will help you live below your means, but also magnify how much you make and magnify your wealth. Number 1 is to consider investing in yourself. Now, your primary wage earning capability is all determined based on your skill set. We are moving from a society that pay based on credentials, meaning you got your degree from XYZ University, to a society that provides benefits based upon skill set. Now, what a lot of folks don't realize is you could magnify or increase your skill set for small investments of capital. Let's say, for example, you're a programmer, you want to learn a new language. Or if you are working in IT and now you want to learn network security. Or if you are, let's say, just a general contractor or GC and now want to learn plumbing, for example, right? These are things that may not cost a tremendous amount like a university degree, but they can magnify how much income you make. Because you have to take care of 2 dynamics. The amount of money you make needs to go up and the amount of money you spend needs to go down in order for you to have a vast majority of excess cash to invest. So number 1, magnify your skill set, invest in yourself to magnify how much you make. Number 2 is to understand financial education and the dangers of using debt incorrectly. Now, the majority of folks out there utilize debt to purchase crap they don't need to impress people that don't really care. Will Smith famously said that. With that said, debt can be used beautifully if it's to help you either purchase cash producing assets like a home or rental properties or for your business or to invest in yourself in your education, skill set, or your relationships. But understanding debt and flipping the script from, hey, I got this credit card with a $10,000 credit line, let's buy this 55-inch TV that we're never gonna watch, or hey, you know what, let's go buy this car that we really shouldn't be buying, a BMW, when maybe you should technically be on a Honda Civic budget. And no knock to Honda Civics because I love Hondas, but you got to keep that in mind. Like, are you trying to impress people to buy this new fancy thing when the reality of it is you're the one settled with that debt? That's going to be the thing that's dragging you down. Number 3 is know that our spending habits is actually learned behavior. And many of us have learned about spending habits from our childhood. What money habits do you have that have come from your parents? Whether it's this notion of scarcity or abundance, or spending through retail therapy to make you feel better about yourself. That's really common and a lot of folks don't really address that. So understand your spending habits and understand your mindset with money is really powerful and impactful. So one of the things that I've done is I've changed my relationship with how I reward myself. I used to be a very immediate gratification person. I do this, I'm gonna reward myself with that. Now that immediate gratification has caused me to buy a tremendous amount of things that I don't need and it's sitting around. And you can probably relate. You probably are looking in your closet and you probably only wear half of the stuff in your closet. Maybe even a quarter of the stuff in your closet. Because you went to Forever 21 and you're like, man, that shirt looks pretty cool. Or you've gone to Zara or Banana Republic or whatever, or Target, and you're like, that looks really cool, and you just purchased it right spontaneously. Understanding immediate gratification and to delay that gratification is probably gonna be one of the biggest tools to help you actually build wealth. So understand your mindset behind money and how you spend money. Number 4, and this is a big one, don't get caught in the lottery ticket mindset. Now I know you see the sign on the highway for the Powerball of 190 million and your brain starts thinking, man, what if I won $190 million? And then you go and spend $100 on Powerball tickets, knowing or maybe not realizing that the chance of you actually winning is infinitesimally small, meaning you have a better chance of being hit by 4 lightning bolts in a row than winning the Powerball, yet you spend it. Or let's talk about scratch-off tickets. Or for many of us, the stock market. Let's be real, the vast majority of folks in the stock market today are speculators and gamblers, not investors. Investing is a long-term marathon where stock trading, stock picking, speculation is a short-term gamble. Don't get caught up in this whole notion of lottery ticket, rags to riches, immediate gratification, overnight success fallacy, because that is going to drag you, and realize that the vast majority of folks that talk about it, they never talk about their losses. They never talk about how much they've actually spent either losing money in the stock market, buying lottery tickets, where that money would have been better invested in your own education or in learning a new certification or a new skill set. And 5, and I need to reinforce this, is when you purchase an item for yourself, right? When you purchase an item for yourself, make sure it genuinely makes you happy. You're not buying something to impress somebody else. Will Smith, again, famously said, we live in a society where people buy stuff that they don't need to impress people that really don't care. This consumer debt that many of us have has been an anchor to the actual building of wealth. The richest folks out there, they've realized, and I become good friends with a lot of phenomenally wealthy and famous people being a tax advisor. And I'm not gonna drop any names, but what I've started realizing is the reason that they're able to hold on to their money is because they don't really spend it. It's this weird paradox. I hang out with this super popular DJ, top of his game, everything. People send him stuff for free, and he effectively wears things at no cost to him. It's a paradox, whereas us average Americans watch his social media and be like, man, I need to be like this guy. I'm gonna spend all my money. This paradox, right? So understand that you're gonna want to only purchase things that truly make you happy, not to impress other people. And if you purchase stuff that truly makes you happy, give yourself 24 to 48 hours before you actually spend it, especially if it's over 50 bucks, right? If you're going to Target and impulsive, you're like, man, that vase looks super dope. Or you go to a store and be like, man, I totally want that couch or that chair. Give yourself 48 hours of sleep on it first and determine, do you truly need it? By having it, was it truly make you happy? Or is it just an impulse, immediate gratification purchase? So those are 5 of my tips to help you turn the tide of leaking money out of your pockets. And again, my name is Eric. I'm your abundant BFF. I'm here to show you and guide you to a pathway of freedom and abundance. And until we can both, and all of us collectively, rein in how much we spend, we can't go in that direction of freedom and abundance because we're dripping money out of our pockets. The moment we're able to start becoming more self-aware of how much we spend and where we spend it, the more we'll be able to utilize to actually truly build wealth, freedom, and abundance. I make YouTube videos every single week to help you and your friends and family and loved ones find freedom and abundance. If you got any questions, I would love to hear from you. Any comments, feedback, questions, make sure to hit me up in the comment section below. I personally respond to each and every single comment or question that you put in there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, click the subscribe button and turn on the post notifications. So every time I put up a new video, bam, you're on it and you're magnifying your wealth. And if you know anybody else that wants to find true freedom and abundance, I invite you to send them over here. I would love to have them as part of our journey. With that said, I make new videos every week. I'll see you again soon. Peace.